Hello. I have never attended St. Paul's School in New Hampshire. I do not know anyone who has attended MIT, but thank you for assuming I was accepted. I do not know what CEF or security or NSA IAM stands for, but thank you for thinking I was certified. Thank you. I have never been to SchmoCon, but thank you for offering me tickets, everyone. And thank you for the job opportunities, but you do realize I actually majored in fashion design. And I wanted to thank those of you who have offered me dinner. Where are we going tonight? Oh, by the way, who's Robin Sage?
What? No, actually, if you look at him closely with the mullet and stuff, doesn't it look like Kevin Mitnick in the old days? But, you know, like with my weight. All right, so those of you who don't know me, I am the co-founder and managing partner of a company called Provide Security. And what we do is we focus on these types of things using social media to actually track down threats. Others that know me from the OWASP board in New York, working with Tom Brennan and the rest of them. I was also a trainer for Security Plus, CEH, ECSA, and also doing red team work. So how many of you are here because you hate me? How many people were on Robin's list? Yeah, well.
Thank you.
Come on, Joe, raise that hand. All right. So the whole purpose of the thing was to go back in the old days. All right. So what happened back in the 80s? How many of you guys know who Dick Marcinko is? All right. Dick Marcinko back in the old days was the guy who started Red Cell for Naval Special Warfare Development Group. His whole focus was to prove to people that things can get done. Go about them in weird type of ways that piss people off. So that was pretty much the whole premise of this. Except this was the new version, cyber ages and stuff. So one of the main focuses was, when we were doing this whole thing, there was a couple of people out there who would go, why are you friending all my friends? Okay, perfect example is the whole 2600 crew out in New York. And what they would do is they were like, wow, who the hell is this girl? She's freaking nuts. She's friending all of us. There was even somebody from DC 303 that went ballistic on me. What, who went ballistic on me? A what? Pyro's message. I have it in the email. He's like, why are you friending all my friends? I can't take this. So what happened was, I was kind of bored after Christmas. I didn't get all the toys I wanted. So it started on the day after Christmas. The whole focus was to be 28 days. All right, who knows why? Okay, 28 days, because the real Robin Sage is 19 days. And ironically, it happened around that time. And the day the news release came out, 2 days after that, Robin Sage really ended. And according to the schedule, it starts again on Friday. Anyone knows what a Robin Sage is? What is it? Right, it's a military training exercise for special forces. Okay, so the goal was to watch the actual propagation of how well this would work on social networks. Some of the other things that we're focused on were how people do research. Okay, the one who kept calling me out the most was Chris. All right, because Chris knew a lot about me. So the whole focus of the medium was to focus on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google, and Blogger. The reason for the bottom three, Twitter, Google, and Blogger, were initially just for propagation reasons. All right, if you have a blog on Blogger, you get indexed really fast. Same thing with Twitter. You keep posting tweets with links, you get indexed in the search engines really fast. And then Google with the little profiles, just so every time you typed in Robin Sage, you saw her face.
Thank you.
All right, most of us know about how this all started. This all started back in 2006 with Facebook. Well, actually 2004 with Facebook. Not Facebook, MySpace. All right, so with MySpace, everybody started creating all these pages, and everybody wants to be everybody's friends that don't know each other. The reality of it was, we were all just looking for a free dating site. All right, we all wanted to go out there. We all wanted to go find all these different people, hopefully hook up with them. I know there's a couple of people in this room that still use it that way, where they actually sit there on their Facebook, there's a conference in this area I'm going to. Who's there? Let me see. Maybe I'll find a hot girl. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe I'll hook up with her. All right, and that was pretty much the whole premise. After that, April of 2008, Facebook surpassed MySpace. Okay, so what that's showing us is different growing trends. Different functionality constantly being added. All right, today there's over 5 million users. I know, all you guys want to see all the cool shit, but I got to bore you with some stuff. All right, so LinkedIn, our favorite network. Okay, it was launched in May of 2003 for professional networking. All right, and it has over 70 million users. How many of you are here on LinkedIn? Wow. How many of you have viewed my profile? I'm trying to figure it out because after the press release, it's like every day, it's like 20 new people have viewed your profile. Somebody at NSA, somebody at... All right. Next we have Twitter, our favorite friend out there. Say, Chris changed the whole dynamic for Twitter on me. All I was using it for was indexing, and Chris has to start a flame war. All right?
Before I started, I said, I think I'm stopping some people I can't talk.
All right, so basically, all it was really supposed to be used for was indexing, but thanks. But there were some interesting things that I began to learn from Twitter, especially after this project had started. So for instance, I've done some more research after Hope. How many of you went to Hope? Nobody? Yeah, I kind of figured that. So after Hope, what was the whole big thing? Oh, wow, Julian Assange might show up. All right, so I said, you know what? Let me start bashing WikiLeaks and watch what happens. So in approximately 3 days of bashing WikiLeaks, I had over 130 more followers. I was like, wow, people love this stuff. All right, until people started getting into it and knowing what was going on. All right, Facebook, boom, first week, look at that, 60 friends. Then people open their mouth. Week 2, it's like, whoosh. Week 3, by week 4, it almost looked like it had died. So what did I do after that? I hibernated, and then I came back. I said, all right, let's see what happens. We did the security community. I got the trust of certain people. Okay? So here are all the boring stats. What's going to happen, and it's probably going to get me in a lot of trouble because my other drive blew. So some people may see the unredacted version of a few things. And it's not that I'm Julian Assange from WikiLeaks, but there may be some names and things that may scare you. All right? So here's the pattern of what had happened. All right? So after the 28 days were gone, on Facebook there was pretty much about 223 friends, that accepted, dropped. Because, after the press release comes out, all of a sudden, guess what? 202 to 146. It's like, oh no, I didn't click. I had a bot that automatically clicked for me. All right, Twitter, ironically, goes up. Why? I don't know. I'm not that good looking. I mean, she's pretty, I'm not. All right. Then LinkedIn, people just became more interested. What does he know that I don't know? So the key to the success of this was finding the 3 people that had the most connections. Okay? Why is that? Because if you're friends with them, then you start propagating on everybody else's list. This girl might be your friend. She looks hot. Yeah, I'm going to friend request her. So we had Dan. Dan covered DNS architecture, a big thing in security. Now we have Jeremiah. Why was Jeremiah picked? All the guys that follow application security. Okay? So that was the method to the madness. Then we have this ugly guy. Mark, you here? Okay, I'm safe. Because Jeremiah already threatened to do some like Brazilian jiu-jitsu on me and strongholds and break my arm. And now, it's not that these guys are insecure. It's just that they're out there. They're out in the public. So guess what? By default, social media is used for networking, building business. Okay? Dan had just started a new business. Mark had just gone to FireEye. And Jeremiah's been building out White Hat. And he's been doing a great job at it. It doesn't mean these people are bad at their job. Okay? Because truthfully, there was no information leakage that could cause a problem for these 3. So, you have this hot girl here, right? And she wants to be your friend. What are you going to say? You want to connect to her. Why? She's hot. All right, what else? Impressive background, right? St. Paul's, so she's an elitist snob. Okay, MIT, so wow, she's hot and has brains, rare in the community. What? Don't. All right. Sorry. You're right. Where's the mirror? All right. So what else do we notice here? Very good. How old was she? How old was she? 25. Possible? No. Okay. How old are you?
21.
Okay, so what else do we see out there? How many people here are in the intelligence community and plan to beat me up afterwards? Nobody? They're not going to tell me. They're just going to sit out there with a 308 and go. Silencer too? Damn, I know who's hitting me out now. Shit. Okay, so what else do we see? The reason why I ask people from the intelligence community is they may pick up on this.
Gentleman in yellow.
What? The way she looks? Is that possible? Here's a little thing. Everybody in the intelligence community, nobody links their Twitter account to their LinkedIn account. Nobody. So what else do we have here? She worked at the Naval Network Warfare Command. Anyone here work there? Or you're not going to tell me? I was already warned some people will be here if you wanted to kick my ass. All right, why did I pick that place? Maybe because I did time in the Navy and I liked the Navy. All right, there's no real reason why. I had taught the Air Force, and I knew what I had to do with them from teaching them. You know, we had to roll back the Security Plus from 2008 version to 2007 so they could pass. And then the Army guys I knew, which ironically all the guys I taught, nobody accepted her, which shocked me. So all the guys out of INSCOM, nobody accepted, which was bad news. I wanted to trap one of them. All right. Other things, NSA internship. If you did an internship at the NSA and you're that young and you're still working in the Intel community, you going to brag about it? No. No. Oops. So what do we have there? A big gainer of trust. We have a recommendation. Well, Ralph being my old partner, I had to kind of coerce him into this. It's like, Ralph, I need you to write a recommendation, but don't do it from your real job account. Do it from your fake LinkedIn account. So, what do you see wrong with this recommendation? What? You can't read it? All right, so you got a recommendation for a naval network warfare command from a company called Ticket Animal. All right, I don't know what kind of tickets they're selling there, but so it's different things like that that were key to look at. Okay? What else is wrong here? Yeah, I don't think she was old enough to take the NSA exam. I don't think she was in the industry long enough. I was actually called out on that by a guy from InfraGard called John Tierney. John goes, I looked you up on the list and you're lying. Okay? Other things I got called out on, another guy, Ogali. He's like, you know what? He's like, I reached out to those people at St. Paul's and they never heard of a Robin Sage. So, you're lying. All right? So, numerous times by day 2, I'm sitting there, I'm caught. I'm like, shit, what am I going to do? I'm like, so, you do your test, you're caught, you're caught, you're caught. All right? What else is wrong there? Well, that's the new number. I made a big boo-boo and Chris and Ryan called me out on it. I had a Google Voice number that I forgot I gave to them. Oh. And where were you? What? Oh, the jarhead said it. The 2-year jarhead. Oh, I hurt my butt. All right, what else is, so what I was forced to do was Google around. I'm like, damn, Intel phone numbers are not easy to find. So, ironically, what I was finding on the internet was a bunch of, net Warcom phone numbers because all the slides for, projects like the Trident Warrior project and other great projects like this are all out on the internet. So I said, there's a phone number. Let me put that there. You know why I did that? New Year's Eve, I'm getting phone numbers and my phone's ringing up showing Chris Nickerson. I'm like, shit. What am I going to do? If I answer this, I'm in trouble. Okay, so here's an example of a bunch of people that caught me. All right, so you have Pete Herzog, the first one to call me out. How many of you know him? Any of you? Pete. Then Simple Nomad called me out, and Thor pretty much called me out on the same day. And they're like, yeah, we blogged about you. You're a fake. But guess what? Nobody picked up on it. I'm like, this is interesting. Nobody picks up on this, but yet we're all part of one big security community. All right? Same thing with Jacqueline Singh. She's a contractor over in Iraq. I figured, you know what? Squeeze a little info out of there. She called me out on it. She's like, I don't know you. Where'd we meet? I said, we met at Blackhat. We were partying together. She's like, you're a liar. I don't party with girls. I'm like, I'm caught. All right. Then I have Ogali. Ogali's like, dude, just like cut the profile stuff. He pretty much did a full background check and everything else. There is no Robin Sage. All right. And you'll see this later. Okay. Then we have Chris Nickerson. We all know him and Ryan. They tortured me to death for freaking weeks. And then all of a sudden we're on Twitter, and then there's the real Robin Sage, the fake Robin Sage, the Robin Sage sock puppet, and everybody else. So it was kind of fun. It was boring. You know, when you're bored, you have nothing else to do because, you know, after the holidays. And that was one of the key things why this was successful, the timing. Everything happened after the holidays. And we're all in a drunken stupor going, hey, yeah, I'm still hungover from New Year's. Yeah, I'll click yes, no problem. So, I guess I'm going to have to, like, expand this for you guys. Oop. I broke the presentation. So, where do you guys go to search for your information is the first thing I wanted to show you. Okay? Because here's a big problem that we have nowadays. Our information's out there, it's everywhere. All right, so if you look up somebody's name, boom, it shows them, everywhere they lived, their whole family, ages, everything. All right, big problem. But if you look down further, oh, it's not in this one. So I pulled up some screen grabs for Robin Sage in Virginia. Obviously nobody did this tactic. You know why? The only Robin Sages in Virginia were 54-year-old men. All right, so that wasn't happening. So then where else would you look? You would look at other schools. You look in Boston, you look in Massachusetts. Same thing, they're all men. I'm like, wow, I think I picked a bad name, Robin Sage. They're all men. Nobody picked up on it. So what are some of the other things that happen? All right, so Chris made a couple of good points, okay? He was following me the most, and we're sitting there, we're out there. You know, I said, okay, a couple of posts to mailing list will give me a little street cred. Yeah, Chris like, yeah, nice IP address, you live in Long Island. I'm like, damn, what's the problem? I don't live in Long Island. All right, why? Because he looks in Aaron. Aaron doesn't go and show you all the details all the time. So guess what? If he would have looked at a place like ip2location.com, he would have saw it was the Wawa right across the street from my house. You know, it would have given it away a little bit more. All right, other things that I was looking at were, you know, where do people get their information? Who's doing what types of research? And then I was also looking at a bunch of posts. So because this is a modified slide deck, unfortunately I'm probably going to have to show you the real stuff. Oh, nobody hears from DevGru, are they? Okay. You know, those guys are good snipers, okay? I saw what they did with those Somali guys. I don't want to mess with them. So where should we go? Should we go? See, when you search on the internet, you find these lovely things that give you information, okay, that work out great from when you're trying to build these fake profiles. Now, I have no clue what half the stuff I put in her profile was. I have no clue what an N8 was. Does anyone here know what an N8 was? I saw it in a couple of profiles. I said, that'll work. All right, gained a lot of street cred because she got a lot of recommendations. Oh, wait, he looks familiar. All right, so we go there. Other things that we found were a couple of... So we used a lot of different sites out there. So who wants to be a brave volunteer right now? Actually, I have to get an internet connection. Who wants to be a brave volunteer and give me their email address? No one? Why? Oh. Trust issues. What are you talking about? Hell, I'm afraid to log into my email in this hotel. Still do. Will this work? Will this work? Which one will work here? I already paid for it. They're kind enough to charge you $25 a day for internet access. They charge you a day what most people pay, a month at home on cable. I'm like, damn, I'm in the wrong business. They make their hotel rooms, dirt cheap. Like, damn, but internet access, $25 a day. They nabble us geeks. So how many have heard of this lovely site called Spoko? Yes, just pay me. Don't ask for my room. If they ask for my room, I'm in trouble because I know somebody's here to hurt me. So Jeremiah, what's your email? Tom Brennan, that's who we'll do. Who can we do? I'll do. Hey Robin, what's your email address? I'll sell you her phone number. No, it's a Networkcom number.
You're a lot bigger than me.
Don't worry, Chris will help you. Tom will help. You see, you got the Marine, you got the Army grunt, you got everyone.
Depending on you guys.
So which one should I use? See, it's kind of hard because I can't use my own because guess what? Facebook and LinkedIn deleted me and told me it's for national security reasons. They told me I could never get it back, but maybe I'll get in trouble. You know why? Because guess what? Guess what was open on Facebook afterwards? No, even better. U.S. Cybercom. There I am. Sorry, it'll probably be deleted by the time I leave this room. Oh, wait, sorry. Look, this isn't a penetration test, so relax yourself. All right, so which one can I use? All right, one I don't care about. Oh, gee whiz. It's called the freedom of disinformation. Okay? Am I 101? No. But guess what? It's one of the bad parts. Yes, I know everybody knows I play paintball, so that doesn't mean anything. So what it does is it'll tell you every site you're linked to. All right? Which can essentially be bad news. All right? Because then people can sit and profile you. How many of you here ever used another tool called Maltego? Well, I guarantee you after I show you this one, all of you are going to use it. So, where was it? Is it military? No. That'll get me in trouble. Probably arrested and shot. So we have other things here. So we're looking at... So what... All right, so one of the lovely things that you can always get on somebody's address. Okay, so there's this beautiful house right there. Dude, look at the number of black Suburbans outside that house. Do you think it's mine? It's near Langley? So what do you notice about this? Anybody here, Intel? What do you see funky with this house? It's got to be somebody special, right? You got 4 black Suburbans and you got a spotter car watching whoever comes down the street. Guess what? That person's information's out there on some site saying, okay, yeah, I made a political donation. All right? One of the lovely things Maltego picks up. So thank you, Rolef. What's the next picture? Side of the house. All right, so basically you have an address, you have a virtual reconnaissance. Now, I'm sure a couple of you are probably Googling who lives on Mill Ridge. And I'm sure a bunch of you already know because you've done work with them. What's so funny? You know who it is? All right, what do we see here? We basically have done a full perimeter view. All right, so if you're using LinkedIn, okay, our lovely site, how many of you use TripIt? Come on. A bunch of people use TripIt, right? You want to know who's going to be where you're going and blah, 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 whatever, who's at what conference. So now you just left your house open because they know you're away. All right, you're an InfoSec consultant. Okay, you're a red team guy, like Super Chris here. What do you know about alarm systems? Who knows alarm systems here? What's the one place they never take care of? Okay, besides skylights is one. We see some skylights there, some second-story windows. What's another famous spot? Bathroom windows. Why? Because the brake tape. So now you know your entry points into this house. Where are you going to go? Because if this guy's got that many guards, he's probably got alarm systems. And ironically, for some reason, by the wooded area, there's no fencing. But behind the house, there is. So that's another example of what your information out there can do. Virtual reconnaissance. Has it happened? Yes. People have used this to break into other people's houses and know where you live. People put too much information out there. All right? One of the big things that I found was how many people use LinkedIn and put their personal email address for LinkedIn. Okay, because now you're dealing with people in business. What happens when you deal with people in business? Okay? So if I'm dealing with Chris and Chris is dealing with Jeremiah, what are you going to want to know? Who they're working with. So how are you going to know who they're working with? You just sit there and watch their streams, who their new friends are, who their new connections are. Jeremiah just connected with so-and-so from Booz Allen Hamilton. Maybe he's going to do work for them. So now I know what security scanner they're using. Okay? So-and-so's using Qualys now because they just connected with a Qualys sales rep. What's that tell me? Well, if I use Qualys, I can scan their network, and it's already allowed because the Qualys IP addresses are allowed on that network. What else we got here? Let's go into the fun stuff. Should I? What's the worst that could happen? Do you want me to save the good thing for last or now? All right, so everything's redacted on this one, so I'm safe. All right, so there's a certain somebody in some security industry that just from an email address, we found this Flickr account, we found this Skype, we found his personal info, we connected to his LinkedIn, found out the day he enlisted into the military. From that, we found his wife, his kids, everybody's Facebook account. All right, what kind of threats there? That wasn't the fun stuff. Fun stuff was wifeposter.com. Yes, it's a wife swapping site. Change it. Testing 1, 2. Hello? Yeah, it's not working. It is on. The green light doesn't go on when it... Get her to help me. Hello? All right, so some of the interesting stuff we find people on wife swapping sites. Unfortunately, I won't be there because I don't have a wife. Chris, he'll be there. Oh, wrong picture, sorry. Now, one of the big questions I was always asked by the media is, how much of a role did sex play in this? And I would have to say it was a lot. But Ogali didn't fall for it, so when we're going back to who fell for it, here's an example of her Facebook page. And that was actually left up there. Okay, so as most of you could see, he found out all this info, blah, blah, blah. He noticed that she lived in Mayock, North Carolina, with the post office box to Blackwater, all that stuff. All the stuff that just stuck out like a sore thumb that nobody else could pick up on. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I meet somebody, the first thing I do is Google them. All right, me, I'm lucky. You know why? Where I live, there's 594 Thomas Ryans within a 90-mile area, so I'm kind of safe. Ironically, 8 of them have the same exact birthday as me. Now, how do we find this type of information out? Okay, so where are we? Was that? Oh, that's Try Warrior Project on the internet. So there's a bunch of different things. What else do we got? A bunch of people's personal info. Chapman. Now, the reason why a lot of this got so much press is probably because, 2 weeks prior to this actually coming out when Kelly wrote the article, how many of you remember Anna Chapman? Cute girl, right? Cute redhead. What was she doing? Spy. Nobody knows what she's doing. The media, nobody will tell you what she was actually doing, but what was she known for? All her social media connections. What? Wait. Let me make sure it's just me on this. Hold on. What happened? Damn, Windows 7. It froze. All right, I'll show you guys in a minute. As soon as Windows wakes up. That's what I get. I know. Shut up. All right. So, where did I put those screen grabs? What? Show you what docs? Oh. Oops, sorry, you didn't want to see that stuff. So, ironically, other experiments that have been done were, oh wow, no. No, that couldn't have happened. Chris, I said I wasn't going to do it. No. What? A picture that I should show people? What, this one? The one that was on TwitPic? I don't understand why people over in a war zone are just like uploading pictures up on TwitPic. I know it's a great idea. But, hey, I'm bad, but nobody can see who I really am. But the reality of it is, I think the biggest problem with the military is a lot of people don't understand all the wacky developer concepts with EXIF data. And I remember there was a big posting on this on SOCNet. We're like, yeah, that girl's hot. That's it. Maybe that's why everybody fell for her. Yeah, of course, that's why. But guess what? You guys still gave up information. All right, the more information you give up, guess what? The more we can find on you. So when you get into tools like Multigo, you give up 2 pieces of information, it owns you. It gives up your phone number and your email address and your name. All right, so an example of it would be, if it works, when in doubt, close it out. So, other lovely, no, I'm not putting that, I'm not putting that, I'm not putting that. What? All right. Oh, wait. What was other things you'll find when you're playing around? One of the biggest things that you... Yeah, sorry, Facebook. But when you're screwing around and you have like all these different, you have your LinkedIn and your Facebook and your Twitter all connected. So if somebody sends like a little mal-coded bit.ly URL, guess what? You're sitting there on Facebook, you're looking at your friend's pictures and, oh shit, somebody just took control of me. What am I going to do? All right, little something to think about. Although, I was looking at this Frontierville. I didn't know who Bill Bolano was. It just popped up on Twitter. Doesn't that look like him? I don't know. So, anybody have any questions at this point? Because I'll go into it more, but does anyone have any questions from right now? What evidence do I have? I have this thing called Outlook. And we could do star.mgtx. Where's it? MTGX. Oh. Nope, don't put those. What? Right. So who do you want to see proof from? Do you want to see a Google job request? You want to see Google? Will that be proof? You should have accepted? Yeah, because they're paying a hell of a lot more than anybody else. Yeah.
I'll have to set up an interview with them, huh?
Job reviews.
Wow,
They're
the
PDFs.
design skills.
So here's a posting from a guy who said, because a couple of Rangers said, oh, nobody fell for it, but yet somebody goes on and posts this up on a blog. And I can tell you who it is, because once I put Robin was in a relationship, he called her a slut on Facebook. I was like, damn. Let's see. No. You want to call him? Come on, Chris. You want to social engineer him? You want that job at Google, don't you?
Totally. I could use the money.
But in all fairness, okay, I will give the Navy crypto techs kudos, because I said this to every media, all right? Not everybody is bad about this, all right? So I go to join a LinkedIn group for crypto techs, and you can read what they wrote. So for every negative, there is a positive. There are people out there doing the positive thing. But the reality of it is, what true information you do put out there, is that you? He's not going to tell. He's laughing at me. Yeah, I'm the man. Do you know him? That smile says you do. So what are we supposed to walk away from all this? It's like the big thing we have to watch out for is all the information that we share. If Multigo ever works, well, it's not Multigo, it's Windows. Jack Daniel. Anybody want a drink? So here's a perfect example of Multigo. So it sits there, it spiders you, it goes out, it finds everybody you talk to. It knows everybody you talk to on every forum. Okay? It starts providing you with phone numbers related to people. All right, and I figure, I'm a safe candidate. Everybody knows. But there were other people. All right, it shows every domain name that you own. So if you're out there buying like freaky domain names, they'll know about it. It'll find it. So, any questions? Yes.
I can tell from the context of what you're talking about, the general subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I've never heard of you. I've never heard of this whole story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really missing a whole lot of context here. Can you kind of go back to the very beginning?
Okay.
I assume that you've never heard of any of this stuff and kind of give us some background.
Sure, not a problem. So back on December 26th, I had started an experiment called, and I had named it Robin Sage for that particular reason, because I wanted to make everything about the experiment obvious. First one, by picking the name. The name was picked after Army Special Forces. The second was Facebook. Okay, how do you populate? You start doing, building out everything from the beginning. You create these profiles. You look and see what the profile does. Then you pick a targeted community. I picked the security community first. Wow. You asked a bad question. I just lost half my audience. What? Oh, the booze. That's right. All right, so built out the profile. You go after the targeted audience. The 3 targeted people I chose were Jeremiah, Mark, and Dan. Why? Because they were the target for the security community, not because of any other reason. They're well known, they're well respected, and if people see that you're related to them, they trust. Okay? They'll automatically trust you. And then what happens after that is it'll say, you should know this person, and start populating. And a lot of people will sit there and click yes. All right? From that, once you click yes, what happens? All right? You then show that person your information. So now they have your email address, your phone number, your AIM, everything like that. Everything that's associated with you. Okay? If they have the Facebook app, then it downloads all your personal information into your BlackBerry or your iPhone. All right? Then you can take other tools and spoof and pretend you're somebody else calling for information. So that was pretty much the whole premise of the presentation. What? What data did I get? Various people, we got different data. Some people we chose to profile using different tools like Multigo and Spoko and a few others. Let me think. Who can I Google? Anyone know Dan Kaminsky's email? No. Okay. Wrong password. What? Oh, that's why my email address. Good catch. 2 T's. So, tomb@owasp.org. Ah. What? You won't find anything. Well, this connection's a dog. You taking her to dinner? Yeah. But you weren't on the list. No, you didn't ask her to take to her a rave. So, it's basically every blog posting about Jeff. All right? So, where can this be essential? Okay, so one particular person where it's essential was, and Chris will know this one, a particular person whose email account, you know how you have your security passwords? Well, their question was, what was your first car? And ironically, they have a whole blog posting talking about their first car. So that would be one example. And that could be to your email, that could be to your bank account, your music playlist. How many people profile off your music playlist? Okay? Mothers, okay? Another perfect example. A lot of times they'll choose like their kids' names. Okay, their kids' names or their husband's names as passwords. Men will pick like favorite sports teams. All right? So as this goes out and digs up that information, you can pretty much gain access to, unlimited things. The other thing with, say you were an agent and you wanted to target a specific person. So say you were an agent and you wanted to target Julian Assange. Okay, what are you going to do? You'll create a fake Facebook account. You'll sit there. You'll let it just hibernate for a while. Okay, so you'll deactivate it and then you'll reactivate it, say, the day an article comes out. Okay, an article comes out on Julian Assange. You activate the account that day. I guarantee you'll probably have about close to 300 followers within that day, or 300 friend requests, or 300 likes. What can you do with that data then? You could profile everybody that likes Julian Assange and why, and look at their posts, what they'll put on this thread. All right, and this is the different types of things that it's being used for. And I was asked before, where have these types of attacks happened? Okay, so about 3 days after the article came out, they found out on JPost, which is a news blog over in Israel. They had used the same method to actually get access to a secret base, because what they did was everybody on that base, they knew there was 285 people on that base. So only those 285 people were allowed on that base. So what happened was they created an account and swapped it out. They made it look like it was somebody on the base, so they automatically accept, and then they switched it out to who the actual person was. And it took them, about a week before they realized that there was one extra person on that list. Another example of who uses this are bill collectors. All right, with this economy, people owing money, bill collectors are out there. They're profiling people, looking to see if they're really making money when they're not making money. Because what? They're going to talk about it. They're going to say they're going on vacation. They're doing this. They're doing that. So they're doing it. The IRS is doing it. The FBI is doing it. And, building fake profiles is nothing new. Sean Moyer and them actually started this whole thing back in 2009, was it? And they did a couple of experiments. And this one was targeted to go a lot further, a lot deeper, just in a specific area. Their area is more, will people fall for it? And then can you perform vulnerabilities? Can you do link injections? Can you do buffer overflows? But since then, like back at the end of last year is when they started tying all the different, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter all together now. And now I believe a couple of weeks ago they tied Facebook into AOL Instant Messenger. So what happens is if you start sending out malware through the shortened URL, like Bitly, All right, you have the potential of compromising not one person, but numerous people. Why? Because there's a lot of people out in that industry that sit there and they just keep sitting there retweeting. All right, and I'm sure you know what I mean. They sit there, retweet, retweet. So it goes from your 256 followers to their 3,000, and it just propagates that much faster. Any other questions? No. No. I know a couple of people, and that's the whole point of research. I mean, Moyer and Hamill started it off, okay? And then it's just branched out, okay? Because you have to stop and think about it. When I first started testing cross-site scriptings, was that back in about 2002? And then everyone started being like, oh my God, it's so bad, it's about, what, 2006? So that's the whole point. So, you know, social media is just new. So it's everybody's job to sit there and go out and research just different areas. Not do a broad research, but just focus on an area. What does it do to a phone app? What does it do for social engineering? What does it do for profiling? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, no. Well, here's the reality of it. With like Facebook, you can actually delete the posts, but nobody's going to go back and delete it unless somebody's monitoring them. The responsible way of doing it for, say, Facebook, okay, because there was a big different focus. Facebook was for guys out in the field. LinkedIn was for their bosses, okay? So there was a different profile there. So the guys out in the field, I mean, the thing that they have to realize is Facebook does have a bunch of different security settings. So you can, so say if Robin chose to be his friend, you know, and he's like, oh, she's hot. You can create a separate group, okay, for people that you're not sure about, and just put them in that group. All right, if they're in that specific group, then you can prevent them from seeing your stream and other things like that. You know, only viewing certain photos. Well, Plaxo is one of those networks I noticed a lot of people put their information out and just forget it's there. Right? Like Chris had his, you know, birthday information off of everything, and then I saw it pop up on Plaxo. So that, I wished them a happy birthday. But the reality of it is, what? You were the one who put it was in July. You didn't get a present. Here's your present. No, but the responsible thing to do is like certain things you may want to put misinformation, like as far as an actual year of birth, something that simple. Another thing is if you have a common name, leave out your middle initial. All right, because a middle initial alone can help narrow that information down. Anybody else? I feel like I should buy everybody a drink for staying. What? Bottle of Patron. No other questions?